Today we're inside the 2016 Volvo XC90 taking a look at Volvo's latest infotainment and navigation system. This is easily my favorite on the market right now, even though I've only had a short time to interact with this system. Let's go over why that is. First off, the system is very responsive. It also has this very large touchscreen. This probably has the most screen real estate you'll find in any vehicle, certainly in this segment, probably right on the market this side of a Tesla Model S. In addition to this LCD, our particular model also has a very large full LCD instrument cluster that is very similar to what you find in the latest Jaguar and Land Rover products, only at an entirely different price point. Although the system has some physical buttons down lower in the dashboard, the only really one that you need to know about is this home button right here. This works very much like your average tablet computer, so very much like an iPad or an Android tablet. And one of the really neat things is that it also uses an infrared touchscreen, so I don't have to touch it with my finger. I can actually touch it with any old thing and it will still work. This means you can use this system with gloves on, which was an important development concept for Volvo. Now, before we dive right into the system, I want to remind you that this video is shot in 4K, so for the optimum viewing experience, go ahead and click that quality button down there on your screen, choose 4K, you'll be able to see all the details. You'll also be able to see that this is a sort of a shiny screen, so fingerprints do show up. That is a consideration you may want to take into account. Starting off at the bottom, if you want to adjust the temperature on the climate control, you just use the finger right down there, click on the temperature, drag up, down, or hit the plus or minus. You can also synchronize the temperature all around the vehicle. If we click on the seat, this is where you'll find the seat cooling, heating, as well as the steering wheel heating in our particular model. Click on the little person right there, you find Volvo's very typical climate control interface. You just click on the part of the body you want the air to go to, or you can click auto right there for auto climate control. You can also control the rear climate control from the same screen, so click on over there. Second row climate on, third row climate on, etc. Because we are in the 4-zone climate control model, you can control the rear zones independently of one another as well as the rear seats. So you can actually turn on the heated seats for the rear passengers for them rather than having them click on the button. If we go ahead and close that, we'll start off on the rest of the functions. So if we click this home button, you'll notice we get this sort of compact view of everything that's going on in the system. There are no SMS messages, there's no Bluetooth phone paired at the moment. Right now we're on Sirius XM and our navigation shows an ETA of 1 p.m. If you want to know more about these particular options, you can just click on them and it will expand that particular option. So click on that, it expands the navigation map. If you want to maximize that to use all the screen real estate, you can go ahead and do that as well. We get a 2D or a 3D map view. The system has some limited topographical information. It's not quite as attractive as BMW's iDrive, but it is much more responsive than something like Cadillac's Q, which also pinches to zoom. Although sometimes the graphic takes a little bit of time to redraw, the rest of the system is not hampered by that action. So even though it's redrawing that, all the rest of these buttons still work while that's happening. Entering an address into the system is very easy, either the natural voice commands or right here on the screen. You can enter zip codes or you can enter cities. You can actually type it out right here on this screen. Or you can also enter an address via the finger writing recognition. So we click this option right over here and we get finger writing very much like BMW's iDrive. So I found this to be a little bit less useful than some of the other entry methods, especially the voice commands. I think this took a little bit more time. We'll confirm that and then we'll go ahead and start navigation. Navigation system.
Proceed to the highlighted route.
The navigation system, as you can see, responds very, very rapidly, and the graphics are all very attractive. Let's go back to that home menu again. We'll go ahead and choose the next option. So you notice that when I clicked the home button first, it gave us that sort of shrunken version, still larger than the others. But if I hit it again, then I get this version. So we can go over here to the media. You can see what stations are on the Sirius XM satellite radio right there. So that's how we interact with those. Right now we're listening to Sirius XM Channel 8. Now if you want to change the source, all we do is swipe to the left and we have our list of sources right up here. So I have an iPod connected. Let's click on over to that. You notice it's now retrieving track information powered by Grace Note. Very snappy in the way that it interacted with that. We have library right here. This is where you can browse your device. So you can see we have artists, albums, songs, genres, etc. So we can click on that. It is very, very snappy in its interaction with the iDevice. Close that over there and you'll see that down here we have recent sources, so we can easily click backwards and forwards between the iPod and the Sirius XM. If we swipe to the left in the system, you'll see that we have other features. So this is where you'll find the sport mode for the stability control, lane keeping assistance, on, off, park assist, cross traffic alert, distance alert, all that sort of thing right in there. The autonomous parking, you can either park into a spot or you can have it pull out of a spot for you. You can also enable or disable the all-around camera system. The all-around camera system is very similar to what you find in Nissan, Infiniti, and Land Rover products. So you'll notice that we have lines telling you where the car would go if we were driving around. So if I go ahead and put the car in drive, you'll notice I have front lines right there. If I put the car in reverse, you'll notice that I have rear lines as well as a line for where the front tire would go when I turn left. I can actually click on any of those areas there and I can see exactly what's going on. So I clicked on that side camera there, so I have that side camera. I can also turn on and off some of the other assistance technologies on the vehicle. I can go back to the 360 view by clicking 360 view, and then you can see the front view if you wanted to, right like that as well. And again, we get the same sort of features there as well. Going once again back to the home page, I'm not going to really explore the phone, that's pretty self-explanatory, but if I pull down this menu right up top, you'll notice I have settings as well as an owner manual. I can read about the vehicle, but this settings page is really what's interesting about the system, because this has more customization ability than you'll find in almost every other entry in this segment other than BMW's iDrive. So if we go into car, you can change all kinds of system settings. So we can change the way the IntelliSafe system works, which is what Volvo's calling their combined system. So we can choose how city safety works. I want to interact earlier. I want the lane keeping aid to do both steering and warning. And I prefer a vibration rather than a sound. You can change the way the lights work, interior lighting, exterior lighting, how you want the active high beam to work, whether you want it to be fast or slow, whether you want the light transition to be earlier, later, or normal, that sort of thing. You can turn the active bending lights on and off. We also have the ability to change the interior mood lighting, and it can auto change by the temperature in the vehicle or by a theme that you select. So you can change the color right there in the system. You can choose how bright you want it to be. We have a wide variety of system adjustment options you generally don't find in this kind of vehicle. The only thing that you get in addition to this that you find in BMW's iDrive would be something along the lines of the climate control customization. You can adjust the climate control a little bit more in BMW's iDrive, but there's not that much difference. Because we have the dynamic suspension system, we can also adjust the suspension system to automatically lower when we park the car and turn it off. We can also deactivate the suspension and leveling control if you want that deactivated. Because we have the optional Bowers & Wilkins sound system, we also have some sound customization ability here. We can change the way our sound system behaves, so we can have it oriented towards the driver. We can have an individual stage if you want to piddle with that yourself. You can also have a concert hall effect, which is based on the Gothenburg Symphony Hall in Gothenburg, which is where Volvo is from. Last thing I'll point out right here under system is the remote update service. This really is a very nice touch, again, very much like Tesla's system. So this will automatically download software updates from Volvo as long as you have a valid and active data subscription on the data modem that's built into this system. Volvo tells us that there will be more apps built for the system as time goes on, so you should expect to see more things going on here, very much like they have in the other Volvo products. So you should expect to see AHA, Stitcher Radio, that sort of thing going on. You can also get car status information right here, so you can see messages, status, service right here. So status will give you tire pressure, oil level, distance to the next service, etc. Overall, this system is one of my favorite infotainment and navigation systems out there, and it's probably my absolute favorite in this luxury segment. It's very easy to interact with, it's very easy to use, very intuitive, and very, very fully featured. It also is incredibly responsive, which is the big thing that I've noticed about this versus some of those other systems out there on the market. We get more attractive graphics than most of them, and I do like the ability to see some of this information on one screen, so we can actually see where our next turn is at the same time as we're seeing album art and details like that. You don't get this level of customization in any of the other entries in this segment. This is definitely superior to the Acura MDX's system, even though we only have one screen, not two. I would take this over the new system that we see in the Infiniti QX70, as well as definitely the systems that we find in the Mercedes-Benz GL and ML. Audi's MMI and BMW's iDrive are obviously very strong competitors, but I think this has a very slight edge over those systems as well. Thanks for taking the time to check out this video. Again, I'm Alex Dykes, and this has been the latest Volvo infotainment and navigation system. Be sure and check out my complete review on the 2016 Volvo XC90. You'll find that on my channel as well, and I will see you very soon.